Hello and welcome, my name is Haas, and this is a preview look at the mighty quest for epic loot, which is easily the best name for a game ever. The mighty quest for epic loot is a game from Ubisoft, and is currently in a closed beta, so if you want to get into this beta, there is of course a link in the description where you can sign up. Alternatively, you can actually buy your way into the beta with one of the packs, the cheapest being around $10, which actually also gives you a good amount of in-game currency, making things a tad easier, or quicker, I should say. But what exactly is the mighty quest for epic loot? Well, it is a free-to-play action RPG of sorts, and I say of sorts for a very good reason. One of the main aspects of the game is indeed running through the castles of enemy players and, well, stealing their loot, but in addition there's a big castle management aspect, as you have to both attack and defend. Currently, there are three types of classes in the mighty quest for epic loot. The archer, the mage, and the knight, with one more having just been announced, and you start off by, of course, picking one of these. From that point on, you can essentially go your merry way to raid the castles of your foes in an action RPG fashion. Each class gets a new ability every few levels that you can then equip and mix up as you please. It's not hugely advanced, but it works. You of course have to use these to defeat the enemies in the enemy castles, which then reward you with occasionally items and currency being dropped. With that being said, here's the three best parts about the mighty quest for epic loot in its current closed beta form. First of all, let's start with the obvious, and that is the glorious style of the game. The mighty quest for epic loot is as goofy and silly as you could basically imagine this game to be. You'll be chasing and getting chased by chicken armies through castles, we'll have to dodge giant hamster wheels with spikes, and you can beat up snot monsters while wearing very little. Now, the mighty quest for epic loot is not an easy game. In fact, it will absolutely kick your behind at times, yet it is a very simple game. The reason of course being that you are mostly fighting player-generated castles. Well, you do not have to, but these tend to be the most enjoyable and you do get some nice rewards. Some players will have castles that are clearly way too strong for you to handle, with high-level monsters that you really shouldn't be fighting. Yet, the fact that these players have much stronger castles and have clearly invested a lot more time or money into their monsters isn't very frustrating. Whether the game turns out to be highly paid to win remains to be seen, but it doesn't seem to be a big problem because you are never directly competing with other players. You are invading their castles. You, at no point, fight the actual players. The game itself does an okay job at informing you of the defenses of your enemy without giving away the secrets, so you can easily avoid the higher defense count castles if you wish to, but even if you do end up entering a castle that absolutely murders you at one point or another, the matches are very short, so you never lose much of your time with the castle raid taking at most 5 minutes. Not to mention, there are of course also the story or NPC generated castles, which seem to be balanced in a fair manner. So, in short, the mighty quest for epic loot has an enjoyable and challenging difficulty curve, mostly reliant on whether or not you want to try and best enemy players without being highly frustrating at the same time. Then, thirdly, the actual base building is quite a ton of fun. The base building is all about managing your castle in a variety of ways. The main way of course being your monster's capability to murder enemy invaders. Castles require maintenance in a number of ways. You have to place all the necessary buildings that, for example, allow you to spawn monsters, upgrade monsters, or increase total resource capacity, or you have to add more rooms to the castle. And this can take up quite a bit of time. Or, alternatively, you can spend the real money currency called bling to speed things up, which you can get from achievements but mostly require you to purchase them. You then have some mines for gold and life force, which are the two earned currencies that are, in the case of life force, needed to buy monsters, and in the case of gold, required to buy equipment for your hero. These mines will generate you these resources every hour or so, and can also be upgraded themselves numerous times. So hopping in and out of the game definitely seems to be the goal here. Spending a few hours to raid some castles and upgrade all your stuff, while returning the next day with a new pile of gold and, hopefully some fresh victims. In this castle you of course mainly have to place monsters and traps for enemy players to fight. If you do this correctly, it will make it highly difficult for them to come in and get rewards. And the lovely part here is that every time someone attacks you, you can watch the replay and see how they met their end. Again, these matches are meant to be very short. In fact, they are time attacks, and if a player is taking too long to get through, then he misses out on quite a bit of resources as your castle locks up. Although, of course, the preferred outcome is them ending up face first on the ground at the hands of your monsters, which you can then also loot for yourself. So, in its current form, the mighty quest for epic loot is looking to be a high quality and mostly fun casual experience. Jump in every now and then to beat up a bunch of chickens, raid some castles, piss off your friends or random strangers and, you know, whatnot. Some castles can definitely be a challenge, which makes it a ton more enjoyable, and managing your own castle and seeing enemy players foolishly try and run through it doesn't really ever get old. And it'll definitely be interesting to see how the game turns out to be. For now, it's an interesting concept, well worth checking out. With that being said, my name has been Haas, and I'll see you in the next video.